connection. All of those things are exactly who I am. And because I'm doing exactly what I was meant to do, I feel like that creates a legacy in itself.
Oh, yeah. And I like how you're saying all of that. So if you're looking at maybe your business and its future, for a moment from the CEO standpoint, if you will, what would you say maybe 2 or 3 things are that maybe keep you up at night or that concern you about your business, from a day-to-day standpoint?
Well, I think that one of the issues that I have is that people who are entrepreneurs want to create a course, but they don't really know how to do it. And so I want to be that person that helps them accomplish those goals. So that's one of the problems, is that people don't know someone like me exists so that I can help them accomplish their dreams. I think that there's other issues with the online education environment, which is that people are putting out courses and they're crappy. And so because I think about the audience, I think about how are we going to actually build that connection? How are we going to not waste the audience's money? Like, I really think about those things. I really think, gosh, like, you're wasting their time and their money by having an amazing marketing strategy and then them sitting down for your course and going, that really didn't deliver. And so that really concerns me, that people are putting out, that people are saying, oh, create a course in 7 days. And you're like, no, it takes a little bit more thought than that. Mm-hmm. So I really am concerned about the education side of it, actually giving them what they're paying for. And so those are really the things that I want to make sure people know about who I am. And if you're wanting to create a course or establish yourself as the educator in your field, mm-hmm. then we can do a good job with that.
Yeah, and it's very important what you were mentioning, because there are so many people, that kind of ties into the people that are really giving advice that shouldn't be giving advice. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of people that are putting out courses that probably shouldn't be putting them out if they're not working with someone such as yourself that can put together something really of quality content that is going to be able to give deliverables that the other person can learn from, because I'm sure that there's a subtlety involved in that, to where if you just do a little bit better job, people are going to learn better.
Exactly. And I heard a statistic the other day that about 80% of people who purchase online courses don't finish. And I really, really do believe it's because the marketing strategy was there, but the deliverables weren't. They may not have experience teaching. They may do what the webinars say and create something in 7 days that are just throwing information on there without any thought about their audience. Mm-hmm. And that really creates a disconnect. How many courses have you been in? I know I've been in courses where I'm like, they didn't even think about what I know or I don't know. They're not even teaching me where I am and where they said they're going to take me.
Sure. Yeah. And both of us being veterans, we have that favorite saying of ours, death by PowerPoint. There a lot of courses that I've seen, were just that. It's mm-hmm. just a whole bunch of slides and a whole bunch of stuff, slapped up on the screen, and then someone who really couldn't deliver very well, in the presentation, of that information. And we have a very short attention span. Oftentimes, they say like 7 seconds to get somebody's attention. Mm-hmm. and like 7 minutes to deliver something before they completely lose track. And so, that's something that people should look at. And, working with someone such as yourself, that would, I think, maybe keep them, more on the narrow path that they should be on when they're creating something like this.
Yes. And then again, it establishes, if they're create a good course, good education, then this establishes them as the expert. It creates them as the lifelong go-to person And then it really connects and builds that community of their audience and their clients. And then their clients will talk about them to other people.
Sure.
And so it creates that trickle effect that really builds your credibility and builds, establishes that expert status that we're all looking for.
Yeah, and that is really the best model for getting clients, through that referral process and having the lifelong relationship, because we shouldn't be just trying to do business one time. We should be wanting to do business 6, 7, 8 times with that same person, because
Exactly.
because it is a lifelong relationship, and there's that relationship of trust that's developed over the course.
Yes.
So with all the things we kind of discussed so far, I'm assuming then you feel like it's probably pretty important that people have some sort of a strategy put together, not only in their business consideration, but also a strategy in their life as far as where they are today and where they want to end up.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Tell me about that.
Basically, as an educator, I use this backwards planning type of strategy. So in the short term and the long term, you're always establishing where you want to end up. So even within your individual short-term goals, you think, okay, well, in 1 month, I want to be able to blank. And so you backwards plan and decide, what are the steps that I need to take in order to get there? How do I establish that? How do I break down those steps to manageable pieces? And that is really the way that I do everything, is that we always talk about, depending on what you want your course to do, changes the way that we present it. If you're wanting to just become the educator, then we create a course in that particular fashion, or we discuss your goals in that way. Like, what is the ultimate result that you want in the short term and the long term? And so that really is how I try to do things too, is that I'm not going to just tell people how to do it, but I do it myself. Is that, where do I want to go, and what are the steps I need to take to get there?
Well, it sounds like you're doing things really very similar to how I do. Obviously we're in completely different business practices and business, industries, but it's taking, that destination and reverse engineering it to where, you look 5 years, 10 years out or whatever, and then you reverse engineer that to where you then define what those steps are to get you to that point.
Yes.
So you're doing the same thing in the course creation.
Yes, exactly. And so we think about, a lot of times I try really, really hard to get entrepreneurs to create tasks, small tasks, so that builds confidence within their audience, that they're like accomplishing something within the individual modules, and then they have an ultimate project at the end. So it's not about just educating, it's about educating in order to do. And whenever people are able to do something or accomplish something, they are able to, feel confident, feel excited, want to show off what they've learned and done. And so again, that creates that cycle effect again, that we've already discussed. And then, so ultimately it's about, what are you not only going to teach them, but what are you going to have them do?
So in the coaching and business world, that's something that we hear a lot of called KPIs, the key process indicators. You're doing the same thing in the course, to where you're creating those stepping stones and those milestones through that, to where you have to get from point to point to point to point, in order to get to that ultimate goal.
Yes, that's exactly.
Oh, excellent. Okay, so Jessica, what do you think some of the most common reasons are that entrepreneurs end up failing or giving up when they're doing their course creation?
Well, I think that a lot of people have too many ideas, and they don't know how to narrow it down in a concise package, I'd say. A lot of entrepreneurs think that whenever they're creating a course, they have to teach everything that they know about the topic, and that's not the case. If you think about it, you have 10 15 years of experience in your topic, and you're not going to try to get everyone up to your same level within that short time. Is that you're giving them nuggets and tasks to do to start that momentum, and really starting from the beginning. Sure. What are the first steps? What are the accomplishable tasks? And narrowing it down to smaller chunks.
So is this something that you've seen a lot of people really, maybe they're going in directions that they're not as versed on as they should be, and they try to create a course when they really aren't the expert? Have you seen any of that?
I have, and I really, and that's part of who I am as a, veteran Marine. I'm going to tell people the truth. I really am. I'm going to say, is this really the direction you want to go? It sounds like there's a huge challenge that's going to have to take place between starting and finishing it, because maybe there's a different direction we should go that's a little bit more achievable in a short amount of time. Sure. What I always try to lean toward for especially creating your first course is to do something that is easy for you to teach. It's something that you know better than everyone, and people are always going to you for that advice. Not starting on something that's the biggest challenge, or maybe even be the biggest interest for your clients. You really think about achieving that small piece, even for yourself. That instant gratification is a huge momentum builder.
Yeah, that kind of reminds me of something that our mutual friend Stephen Kuhn mentions. It's just being very transparent, honest integrity and transparency. His part of his model, his hit strategy, as he calls it, to where you're very genuine, and you stick to you doing you, and it sounds like that's very much what people should be doing, even in the world of creating educational courses.
Exactly. Just really keeping it in a sense, keeping it simple, telling them the basics, giving them valuable information that they can do something with immediately. But if they need more information, you're always there to help them take the next step.
Sure. Yeah. Good advice. So what would you say maybe some specific roadblocks are that for newer entrepreneurs and newer business people, what are some of those roadblocks that people should look out for in creating themselves in this area?
Trying to do everything themselves. If whenever it comes to course creation or any sort of entrepreneur agenda or endeavor, we are always feeling like we have to know everything. But I use this example. Say you were going to open up a clothing store on Main Street. Would you learn how to become an electrician in order to add lights? Would you learn how to be a plumber in order to add some toilets? No, you wouldn't do all that stuff. You would pay the expert for that. So why are you going to do that as an online entrepreneur? You don't have to learn how to do web design in order to have a website. You don't have to even know how to write your own curriculum, because there is someone there that knows that and can expedite that process, exponentially. What takes some people 6 months to create takes me a few hours. If I was going to try to create a website, it would take me years to learn how to do something someone could do in just a few days. And so pay people for what you don't want to learn and that you're not good at.
Yeah, and that's golden nuggets right there, because I'm actually guilty of doing that within my own business a lot of times, because I've been called a controlling person somewhat, and I'm also a perfectionist, which is not a good combination. So I try to do a lot of things under my own steam, and that has ended up biting me in the rear a lot of times in my business, where I've had to learn go ahead and just hand that off. Delegate that to somebody else that is versed in that particular area, because not only is it going to save you a lot of